Well, awesome. Jim, good to be here.
Chaz,
welcome to the Q Sciences podcast. It's our first appearance.
It is. Let's do it.
So, Jim, how are things going with Q Sciences internationally right now?
They're going very well. We're seeing significant growth around the globe with the company in all of our markets. And, we have great teams joining in Canada, Australia, Europe. Like, we have people partnering with us and in Japan as well.
It's kind of fun to look back to where we were in these markets, because you remember back in the days when we started, Australia was just a no-go, a no-fly zone.
Well, I mean, it's been a no-fly zone partly for us, especially at first, right? Because we literally couldn't fly.
We couldn't go there.
And so that, once things opened up, finally, to where we could travel to these markets and, get our boots on the ground there.
Get our warehouses in place, get us there, everything. Market took off.
Yes.
Oh, we've been doing that. Canada, same type of thing. Last market, Europe.
Yes.
We're looking for the growth spurt there still, right?
We are.
We've hit it.
Yeah.
We're looking for the Australia, Canada type growth spurt.
We are. And I've had some incredible conversations recently with people. We actually just flew some in yesterday. Some people that I believe have that potential, and I'm really excited to see where it's going to go.
Sweet. So the marketplaces are doing really well.
Absolutely.
Lots of growth. In Australia, they're still on fire from bliss. Canada is about to get it. We're going to have a convention there. Europe, we're still working through a few little things along the product development side to get stuff in there. But, I mean, it's still a functioning place that people can go in and see success.
Absolutely.
I'd say all of our markets are set up right now to be able to go in, plug and play, and be able to be successful and keep
highly successful. And I think what it does is it shows it shows the commitment that Mark and Jake have for our international countries. Those markets have seen a massive number of resources put their way.
Yeah.
And so we're not here just to mess around and hope something happens, right? Mm-hmm. We're pushing action in these markets, and we're finding people who are ready to link arms with us and make this thing go.
And talking to Mark and Jake and their vision, the reason they want to push so hard in these markets is they know that's where our next big growth is going to be.
Exactly.
America's been growing, it's good. You're still going to succeed in America. You're still going to see great growth, but our international markets are just at the beginning phases.
They're so highly untapped that the opportunity there is really untouched right now.
Yeah. And Australia, for example, doesn't have a lot of network marketing companies that are actually established there at the moment. It's pretty
viable.
Yeah, or viable.
And I think that's the key, right? Because of the turmoil that's going on in the network marketing space worldwide right now, in Australia, they're feeling this heavily. And so they've got a lot of companies that are abandoning the market. They've got companies that are pulling back with commissions or making all these changes that drastically affect the field in a negative manner. And we've done a great job through COVID setting ourselves up to be in a strong position in that market, to where when people are looking for an alternative, there are really only a couple of viable options for them, and we are a very strong one.
So people are really just looking for a home.
There's a lot of them.
They've got a home with Q. Europe. That was cheesy because our next one's going to be what? Welcome home. Our next,
Yeah, sure is.
it sure is.
Next convention. Wow.
But then with Europe, as far as Europe goes, it's just one of the biggest network marketing places in the world. Like it's very popular there. One of the biggest countries is, I think, Germany.
Yeah.
And we just have so few ambassadors there right now that I'm looking forward to the day that we get those people in and this place really takes off. It's at the beginning stages of it now.
Right.
And can't wait to see where it goes.
And so many, we've cleared so many hurdles recently with on the finance side, on the operations side. Like we have gotten some things in place over there that have been critical to be able to start the growth. And now that we've cleared those hurdles, I really do expect there to be significant growth because of those things.
Sweet.
That's good stuff.
What challenges are we seeing here in our marketplaces?
Challenges? Well, right now, I think the biggest challenges that we may run into would be with, like, if a courier is slow to a certain region or something like that. The great thing is our operations team has really done an incredible job with buttoning down all of the details that are needed to be able to ship products and to get them out of the warehouses quickly. So there have been so many hurdles just cleared over the last, I would say, 6 months.
Yeah, we've had our fair share of issues with shipping in the past.
Oh, of course.
But I think we're at a great spot now. No.
But
that's what we mean. We keep innovating so that we can continually improve upon our processes.
Exactly.
And now people are getting these things quickly there.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic last little while where we have been able to get on top of those things, and we can speak so confidently about our operations in those markets.
Yeah, I would say in all of our markets, things are running very smoothly, fine, the shipping, all of that. I'd say the biggest thing someone would need to know with going from like an American market or an Australian market to a European market, just cross-market stuff, the hardest part is probably just time zones, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Just finding time to work with your teams, like it's not an easy thing.
Yeah, we find that with our customer advisory council and our international equity council, because when you try to piece together a meeting where you've got someone in Australia, people in the US, and people in Europe, good luck. There's like a 2-hour window in our afternoon time where it's late night in Europe and it's early morning in Australia and in that region. And if it's not during that time, well, somebody is paying the price.
They definitely
waking up really early or going to bed extremely late.
One of the first things I'll always talk to about, like with the American ambassador saying, hey, what should I do with my Europeans or something? I'm like, know that you're going to have to work outside of your normal time frame. You're going to have to sacrifice some time so you can support these people properly, because we're in different time zones here. So
yeah, and they've got to recognize that if they're going to be able to make a move into those international markets, there's going to be some sacrifice there, right? And that comes in terms of sleep, maybe, like you said, adapting to those timeframes. But it could also come in terms of travel, right? And some time away. Because if you're going to start working in these markets, there's no way that you're going to be able to properly support your team without getting there, like being there in person.
Good point. Like being able to, you have to get over there at least to see them. What would you say is a good amount of time to go over there?
Well, you've got to get there at least a couple of times a year.
Meetings that they're going to have, go there, support them, do your recognition, like show them they're part of this Q thing. Because there is a side that sometimes our international markets feel like they're not getting the same type of attention as the United States or stuff. That's the furthest from the truth.
Right.
We are there. It's just we're still working on building up the growth and momentum there.
Right.
Where America is full long in its momentum has been this mature thing for a while. We're still in our smaller phases there.
Yeah, and we just need,
But that's why it's so important, right? For these people to get there.
Yeah.
Go show these people, show them how the QA is done, like show them events and how all that stuff is run. There's a lot of teaching points for us to go out there and do for our international markets.
Yep, you've got to be able to be there for them. And if you're not willing to do that, then maybe growing an international market may not be for you.
It's not an easy thing to take it from two guys that travel around quite a bit. It takes a toll on you, but it is worth it. Like
Absolutely.
It's so fun.
Yep. And that's, because of the untapped nature of these markets, there's a payoff there.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's gonna take some effort. It's not free volume.
It's not free volume, that's for sure. Sacrifice really is the name of the game there. So I guess as far as tools and assets and things like that, they've got pretty much everything as far as translations. We've got our new website coming in that's going to be translated, things like that. That's another big thing with our foreign markets where they don't speak English,
right?
Is sometimes people getting started in a new country, they will not have translated documents or the website's not translated. So that you got to know that you're going to run up against that. You're going to have to help them with answering questions about that.
Yeah. And with those countries that aren't really proficient with English, we've done a great job. Our communications team is top notch with making sure that we have translated documents and tools for them to use. So that's a huge undertaking, but our ownership recognizes the benefit of those resources that they have to put into making those things happen, because translation services are not cheap.
They are not cheap.
What a racket.
Yeah, they are.
I'm going to learn more languages so I can get in on that. But
just Google Translate stuff and send it over. How about that? That does not go over well if you do that.
Yeah, I think you might get
you might get in trouble.
But yeah, we recognize the benefit, and that team does a great job with making sure that the tools that are needed are out there.
Yeah. But when it's all said and done, I guess the biggest differences between international markets and the United States market is sometimes they just don't have some of the same tools as in products that America has, because there's rules, regulations that don't allow hemp, that don't allow this ingredient that goes to this country. And so you just kind of got to navigate that and figure out. People always ask us all the time, like, hey, do they have this there? Do they have that there?
Yeah.
Just got to be aware that the full toolkit isn't going to be there.
Yeah, the full range of products may not be available. What I do love about the new system, the qsciences.com system, is you can change the cart that you're looking in, right? Mm-hmm. So I may be a U.S. ambassador, and I'm thinking, well, I wonder what it is that they have available in France. I just go up to that menu and I change it to France.
The hamburger menu?
The hamburger menu, 3-line menu.
I'm hungry.
It's
dinner time.
But they can go into that menu, change it to France, and look through the cart and see exactly what they have available for them. It makes it so easy now, where they don't have to come to corporate every time they have that question. That tool's at their fingertips. And so that's actually a really big benefit that we've added with the new .com site.
Sweet. You've convinced me. I'm stopping at In-N-Out on the way home.
Oh, yeah?
Hamburger menu.
Sounds delightful.
If people are looking to build internationally, though, and never have before, what really would be the best thing to get them going on that?
Well, I think that you need to view it as an investment in time and effort, right? And so essentially, you're going to want to use whatever network you have available there in those markets. And just understand that it may take a little bit more effort than it takes with your team in the US. But the really cool thing is when we bring people in all these markets, they're thrilled to be part of a company that is just expanding into most of these markets. These markets are still very young.
Honestly, what everybody gets so jazzed about is being the first in. And I get it. I'm excited for them too, because I know the potential and the possibility they have if they can get this thing going.
Exactly. And so know that there's going to be that excitement when you team up with your network in those markets. And you would want to make sure that you're familiar with our team, who we are, and how to utilize our team to get answers if you have questions, and how to get us involved, whether it's on the training side, presenting QIQs, or at least aspects of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And making sure that you are using the resources that you have at your fingertips effectively. Because we have a lot of tools that I do think are underutilized in helping our international markets grow. And I think it scares people, like at not knowing what is available in a certain country. That can be daunting. Well, we have an easy way to find that out. We just talked about and if you have questions about how shipping works over there, or the currency situation.
I was just going to mention the currency situation because we failed to mention that earlier. I was going to say people need to just be familiar with those,
right?
Like what the compensation plan shows and the numbers and the figures. Because when you're speaking to somebody in American dollars, it doesn't hit the same as if you are speaking in terms that they understand. If you're saying Canadian dollars, like this is how much you'd earn in Canadian dollars, in euros, in Australian dollars. It just hits way different. So
yeah, and especially when you're talking, like if you're talking to somebody in Australia and New Zealand, and you're talking in terms of Australian dollars, like right now you're looking at roughly a 1.5 transaction rate, right? So if you've got a $1, if you're in there talking about $10,000 in the US, well, that's $15,000 Australian.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're only, basically you can get them a lot more excited over $15,000 than $10,000, and they don't have to do all the mental gymnastics and the math to figure out what those, what those percentages are. So it does help to go in and do a little bit of study on the market that you're talking with, like know a little bit about their currency, know a little bit about the time frame, the time schedule, and those differences that you're looking at. And they'll appreciate that you're putting that effort into understanding their culture and their nuances of their market.
Yeah, because I'll tell you from my own perspective, I've tried to do like those calls with using the American numbers and figures, and you can just see that it doesn't hit them as much because they don't understand what the conversion is. They're just like, oh, yeah, that sounds nice. But as soon as you put it into their currency, they're like, really? I can make that much if I hit executive within my time frame? Exactly. And it's just cool. You just got to do a little homework, do a little learning, and just, present it to them how you'd want it presented to you. That's something that you can understand.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Great point there.
What is the most rewarding part, would you say, about working internationally? Besides the obvious, which is being able to see a bunch of cool places. I mean, let's be honest. We did see some cool places.
We've seen some incredible places.
Sydney Opera House was cool.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo was there. We found
he's a great guy.
That street, 3-4, whatever, P. Sherman, Wallaby Way. Doesn't exist, by the way. I
think the closest Wallaby Way is like what we map it out to is a few hundred miles away or something. We gave it a shot. Unsuccessfully.
Unsuccessful.
I think like the most rewarding thing, obviously, building your business and finding the reward there, but learning new cultures is so cool.
So cool.
Being able to, even though many of the countries that we're in, they still speak English. So first off, that makes it easier for
It does. Lots easier.
but just being able to dive into those cultures and finding the cool things about different countries, seeing amazing things, meeting amazing people. I absolutely love being able to go to somebody's home country and you're meeting them on their soil and their backyard, and it's just completely different than when they show up and they're over here with our convention in Salt Lake or something like that. Meeting them in their place, it means a lot to them, and you get to kind of dive into their culture, and I think that's like highly rewarding.
Yeah, and it's just cool to see that there's people the other side of the world think like you, they're like you, they have the same goal, they want to succeed here in Cube, and it's just, I don't know, it's fun to just go see that there's other people around the world just grinding out Q just like everyone's doing over here. It's fun.
In their own
way,
right?
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to touch on is region to region, people do build a little bit differently.
Of course.
Like I know our Australian team, they have this standard of like coming in on 150 PV bop. So you hit that 300 with just 2 people, and then they've got what was it? Getting a customer or 2? I can't really remember. I'm probably botching it.
Yeah. And team to team and
country to country.
Yeah, there are teams that a lot of it has to do with the economics of a region, right?
Yep.
Sometimes it can be very difficult for people in a certain area or region or country to come into the company and buy in at a certain volume level. And so we have to be cognizant of those differences where, maybe, we have like the Mexico and that Malaysia comp plan where it's set on a standard where you qualify at only like 75 PV rather than 100.
Yeah.
And so we recognize as a company, that there are economic differences in certain regions of the world. And so we have to adapt to that, or it makes it very difficult to build in those regions. And so, I loved working with owners that are cognizant of that.
Yes.
And they're aware of those differences worldwide, and they're willing to make concessions and make changes that will make it easier for people to grow in whatever country they're in.
And it's cool because people can diversify their businesses, right? Like you build all in one area. When that area is on fire, you're on fire. When it cools off, you cool off.
Yeah, well, that's,
the cool thing about building in other countries and internationally is it's like, because some places will go through growth spurts where another place didn't. So for example, Australia, when we had our event there, they had a huge growth spurt after the event, after we launched Bliss, all that.
Right.
What was going on in America? Just the regular stuff. They had no like extra boost there. So it's just cool because you can, if you're in all of these countries, you kind of see these flurries of volume kick-ups because of every region is different. And it's just nice to have your growth happening in different areas and it's not all based off of the same little influences.
It's the same type of thing with the stock market, right? You need to diversify. You don't want to have everything that you have invested in one segment, right? You need to diversify. And around the world, the reason that you would see that is because, maybe Europe is affected by a war, right? And that could absolutely devastate an economy and your business if you're only heavily invested in just Europe. But at the same time, we could be experiencing extreme growth in Canada and Australia. And so if you have that diversification and something happens in the economic climate of a certain part of the world, that diversification will allow you to still grow in other areas if there is something hindering a certain market, right? And so you really just have to play it the same way you would with any other investments that you've got. Invest your time in a couple of different markets so you have that diversification.
And speaking of investing time, that's what we're kind of doing with our international markets, right? Like me and you have been traveling nonstop the past, I don't even know. we got so many trips planned.
Still spinning.
We got so many trips planned. I can't even keep them all straight.
Yeah.
But that's what's kind of cool, because we're showing that's where we're starting to put a lot of our focus. We're putting commitment there.
Yeah.
If you look back 2-3 years ago, I mean, COVID even, of course, but even so, there wasn't nearly as much stuff going on. It was kind of, we know this is our time. This is our opening. This is our gate.
Well, so we realized,
amazing.
We realized the importance of that immediately. And as soon as we are able to travel into any country, like we were there, I mean, we jumped the gun on Australia.
We did. We got denied.
we were at the airport, and Omicron had just come into Australia the night before, and they shut us down and sent us home, and we had to come back a couple months later. Like, we just had to make phone calls. Like, sorry, we got shut out because we were trying a little too early.
Get there as soon as we can.
Yep. But we were over there so fast when we opened up the European warehouse, right? We were over there January of last year, which was just right after we were allowed to get over there, and we actually had to hold it in a different area because they changed regulations on us 2 weeks prior, so we had to move it over to France with that event. So we're going to find a way to get where we need to get, because we realize the importance of that.
We do.
Being there in person and showing that support.
I feel like we set the standard of what it kind of is to support a market. It's not support from far. No. It's support in person.
Yep.
Those people need that in-person type of communication with you. You know, the first time you met somebody that you've been working with in Q, how that felt. You've seen him over a Zoom 1,000 times, and then all of a sudden you see him in person, and you're like, you're a lot shorter than I thought you were, or something like that.
Of course.
And it's just cool, because you just take your relationship up another notch, which is extremely important in this business, because that's what this is. We're a people business.
Yeah.
And if your relationships aren't as good as they can be, your probably growth isn't going to be as good as it can be.
You know, to drive home that point, when we had some difficult Zooms with some of our leaders in Norway. You remember this? Because there were some taxation things going on that were like with their customs, right? And it was really hard. And those conversations didn't go great all the time. And we had leaders over there that like maybe didn't like me a lot. and so when it came time to go over there last year for for the leadership retreat in Portugal.
Yeah, that was a good one.
When we went over there for that, we had a couple of them there, and we bonded really, really well. And we came because we saw face to face. It's like, you know what? This isn't just a random person on a Zoom on the other side of the world. Like, this is a person that has a family, and like they have feelings.
And you see they struggle with the same stuff you struggle with.
Exactly.
And they're just a very like-minded person.
Yeah.
And
we came away from that with an incredible relationship. And it was just awesome to be able to, like, this is what meeting face to face can do for you. It will absolutely change your perspective on a person.
100%.
I love it.
I guess all in all, to wrap up, because Chris is looking at me with a cut.
Get on with it, fellas.
He's like, I gotta go home.
I'm here all day.
I guess really international success.
Yeah.
get there if you can. Get to know these people, not just in a Zoom way. Like, go there. Even if it was just once a year, it would make a huge difference to those people that you support them.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, they try their best to get here every year for our conventions that were here. And what have we done? We've rewarded them. We're bringing them there.
Yep.
Why? Because it's important.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the element that was missing with Australia. We had not gone over there and mixed and met them and saw the culture, because everyone, when we left, who came away, everyone was like, I love Australia. I love Australians. And it just felt like there was this new energy and vibe towards the marketplace of Australia. Not that there was ever a negative one or a bad one.
No, but
it was just like, it just changed.
Yep.
And there's nothing really I can say
You have to
that
be involved.
explains it. It's just like, you just know when you go get involved.
Yep.
And it just shores up relationships, helps you understand better where people are coming from because of the conversations that are had outside of your events. That's where you really get to know people. You get to know really what they're struggling with and how you can best start navigating that market. So
there is just so much opportunity out there with these markets, and it's a great time right now to jump in and to reach out to that network that you may have in those countries and really give it a shot and diversify your Q portfolio.
there you go. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome.
Cut.
We're not just kidding. Awesome. Well,
It's international.
It's a
pleasure.
conversation.
Yeah, it's great to be in the international team.
I love it.
Looking forward to Canada again here soon, and you're going to Australia, and then we'll see where
All over the place.
the road takes us next.
Good deal. All right. Thank you.
Enough.